good evening, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is Katie O, and welcome to my living room yet again for another Moon Mama Musings Astrology Peephole for today, the 9th of July, 2021. We are currently in a waning crescent moon in the sign of Cancer, which will also be in conjunct with the sun in a few hours. And if you know what that means, it means we are in a new moon, basically on the verge of our new moon. Very, very powerful energy. We will talk about that tomorrow. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the astrology of today. Today we have the moon making a trine with Jupiter. Jupiter is retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Now, Jupiter is this expansive energy, right? It's the cool uncle that comes to town and lets us do whatever to our heart's content. You know, like, you want to drive bumper cars? Screw it. We're going to go to the F1 track. That kind of a vibe. Expansive, blowing it up, ask for more, do more, dream bigger, go, go, go. All right, but when it's in retrograde, it's like tired of the expansion, so it takes on another persona. And it's taking on the persona of Pisces, which is this intuitive, watery, crone-like energy. But it's like this expansion is sort of misdirected, right? So I've been equating it to your cool uncle that comes to town, who comes to show you a good time. He comes to town one time and you're like, sweet, so are we going to go on a hot air balloon, or are we going to go like feed live crocodiles with our bare hands? And he's like, actually, I thought we could go on a juice cleanse and learn about Vipassana. And you're like, what? And when he first went into retrograde, we were like, what the fuck is wrong with Jupiter? Like, seriously, is he serious right now? Like, is he actually doing this? Is he really like eating wheatgrass and like making clothing out of vegan leather? Like, is he really doing this? And we were a little bit apprehensive about him at first, but it's like we're realizing that there's something to be said for this new persona he's taking on. It's like you realize, oh wait, he may be doing something different that I don't really understand, but the thing is that I've always trusted him before, and he's always brought me a good time before, so maybe this is just something a little bit different, right? I'm hearing that this is also a really interesting sort of, you know, think about it. Mercury just came out of retrograde shadow, right? Yesterday. So we are feeling more clarity about a lot of things right now. So it's like we're starting to realize that, okay, we can have fun with this, all right? Maybe this flower child energy isn't so bad, and maybe there's parts of it that are kind of useful or fun. We used to have so much fun and trust them. But the thing is, just because this expansion is not quite as it used to be, it doesn't make it a bad expansion, right? Jupiter itself is this planet of luck and expansion and growth. But a trine is also a lucky, expansive, supportive energy that might not make change happen, but it kind of supports the coming change, like the structures for the change that will come. So it's really, really beautiful. I think it's nice. It's like finally accepting something different for what it is and realizing it may have been scary in the past, but now maybe it was just because I misunderstood it. Maybe it was because I was sticking a label on it that had something to do with those old patterns that we've been getting rid of, right? It's really interesting. Which brings me to the second aspect I want to talk to you guys about today. And this is our beautiful Jupiter. Jupiter, Xena the warrior princess in the sign of Leo. She's being like she's turned into a ferocious sex pot. She's beautiful. She's like ballin' and creative and just gorgeous and sexual and passionate, and it's amazing. She's in a really great energy in the sign of Leo. But she's making a square with Uranus, and a square is a very challenging, obstacle-filled meeting of the planets, all right? But the thing is that Venus is already kind of doing something a little bit different, right? She's not always as forthcoming as she is, or as like brazen almost, I want to say. Like it's not brazen in a bad way. It's like it just being so authentic and so true to yourself that you're like, I can't even be upset about that. Like, you know, like you're like celebrating. It's like the idea of how, I don't know, I'm being called to like, you know, these female pop stars like Miley Cyrus, for example. When she was a few years ago, she kind of like, you know, put like electrical tape X's on her nipples, and everyone was like, oh my god, she's getting a little bit trashy, isn't she? It doesn't matter. Like, she was fully expressing herself in the way that she saw fit at that moment, and I personally thought that it was beautiful. You know what? She wasn't afraid of what people were going to say about her, and she did what she wanted to, And I mean, obviously there could be, I'm just, this is the energy that they're bringing to me. I'm not saying the details of how or why she did that align with this. But what I'm saying is the energy of like saying, okay, I'm going to stick electrical tape X's on my nipples and go on YouTube. And I don't care if people think I'm a slut for it, because it's what I feel my expression of art is, in a way. All right. So it's this like new and interesting kind of thing, right? She's already in a new and interesting sort of energy. And that's kind of fun too, because in a way, like when we have a square, if the energies are really opposing, then the square can be really difficult. But Uranus is the planet of unexpected change, and Venus is kind of acting a little bit different and like not so to character, let's say, not in a bad way. It's beautiful. It's a blossoming. It's a reinvention, right? Like Venus, Xena the Warrior Princess is a great thing, right? But it's just a little different than she used to be. But it's really interesting because an astrologer that a friend of mine showed me yesterday put it really beautifully the way she described Uranus. She says that Uranus is something that shows us what we've already outgrown. It just puts a spotlight on something that it's like shoes that are already too small. It's like your friend going like, hey, your toes are really like curling over the edge of your sandals. Do you think maybe buying a new pair of flip-flops might be useful? And you're like, yeah, I know they were hurting my feet, but... So it's like we already know that it needs to go, yeah? It's the tower energy. We already know that it's built in the mud, and the mud is going to swallow the tower whole. So it's just better off that we let it fall. So this is like the things that with regards to Venusian energy, so like creativity, passion, love, romance, relationships, money, sex, creation, beauty, all of these things. It's a tower moment for the Empress energy of stuff. Yeah, it's like almost Taurian energy, but it doesn't have the same Taurian stuff, but it has that like Venusian Empress kind of deal. It's this authentic, like we've been striving to be authentic, right? We've been striving to be forward as much as possible. And like I've been describing in previous videos, it's almost like, Venus is the warrior and she's gone down and like said, oh man, I've done this recon, and gone to the king and the queen and said, look, I've been down there and I actually saw it with my own two eyes. This is what's happening and I think you should do this. And everyone's kind of like, well, you're not like, you've never really been the outward, you've never been a general before. What makes you think you can do it now, kind of deal. And she's like, but I know that it's not customary for me, but it's it is true. And I want you to listen to me. So she's being authentic, even though people don't really see that as an authentic representation of her. It is for her right now. She has to be in this energy. So even though maybe you, for example, have a job that you really want, okay? And you're usually somebody who your CV speaks for itself, right? You're a very celebrated worker. People always want to have you on their teams, right? So you send your CV off to this company and you're not getting a response back. And usually it's like as soon as your CV hits the inbox of this person, they're writing back going, can we schedule a meeting for like 10 minutes ago? So you're not used to not getting a response about this. And you're like, I don't understand what's happening. And normally you would sort of just like wait for it to come to you, right? But now you're kind of getting the call to like follow up email and you're like, I've never had to do this before. I don't know if I like this idea. But they're like, just do it. Trust me, it'll work in your favor. So you send this follow-up email and it feels wrong. It feels like you're being too pushy. But they write you back and they're like, oh my God, I don't know how this happened, but your email went to my spam folder. And like, I've been waiting for your email for weeks. And you're like, oh, thank God I did that, right? Like, thank God. It's that kind of an energy. So maybe you guys are like feeling called to do something that would be kind of out of your character normally, or like not really aligned with the things that you usually do. And it's like you're being called to just give it a go because you don't know how it's going to react. Like you don't have it's like you've never done it this way. So you don't have like a sounding board to compare to. And that's why you're feeling uneasy about doing it. But it's going to help you. It's that energy of the fool's naivety helps him because he's not scarred by things from the past that would keep him from otherwise putting himself on a limb when he really would be celebrated for doing so, And it's the idea of that, like, it's like that, the dog that's been beaten, right? It doesn't matter who approaches it now, it tries to bite it. And you've got a filet mignon and a lobster tail with caviar on it, and you go to this poor wounded dog and he still tries to bite you, right? Like, this is the most beautiful meal it's ever going to have in its life, and it's going to help it. It's going to make it stronger and more healthy, whatever, but it still will bite. It's that kind of vibe. All right. So careful. We don't have that same energy about it because we've never been beaten enough to know that people could hit us if we reach out to them. It's a little bit like Ghost. Like, she wants to be friends with everybody because she just has this like sweet little pure heart. But yeah, every so often, you know, it's great because she is not afraid to go and interact with other dogs, right? But in the last couple, like in the 2 weeks I've had her, she's gotten startled, let's just say. Maybe got a little too close to a dog that other dogs know to stay clear of because it's a grumpy dog, and she like wanders right up to it and puts its nose right in its butt while it's sleeping because she doesn't realize that that's something that can hurt her. And obviously this dog snaps at her and she's like, holy fuck, what just happened? That's never happened before. It's this kind of vibe. All right, so don't worry. Today's gonna be, it's like you feel newbie today, but it's all gonna be in your favor. All right, let's see. Interesting. And give me one of these. All right. So we've got karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, and conflict. And the crow, universal laws and truth are now being revealed. Use this energy to create your reality. All right. So I've talked about this card before, that there's this karmic relationship in your field, whether this be a person that you're involved with romantically, or in a business sense, or even maybe a family member, excuse me, or a situation, or maybe it's two parts of yourself, maybe it's your masculine and feminine. Either way, there is some sort of a karmic cycle that is coming to a close right now. And it's been divinely guided to show you the polarity of things. Okay, it's got polarity, says right here, soul growth. They need to show you the opposite ends of the spectrum so you have a better view of the whole picture. And they need to be kept apart from this thing while you're given this zoom out better view. In one of my lives recently, we had this big picture card that showed it's a black card with a tiny little plant with the earth in tiny there, right? This is like, we've zoomed in on it now, like, right? We had to zoom out to see it for the bigger picture, and now we're zooming back in and seeing the details and going, all right, I feel stuck right now I feel like I'm an island all by myself, but it's just because it's not yet time for me to come into union with this thing because I need to do some learning for myself. I need to do some soul growth. And it feels like conflict right now. It's like, they're keeping me away from my soulmate or my major job opportunity or my dream home. Woe is me. But no, it's for your betterment that you guys are kept apart, because if you were together right now, you would fuck everything up. Okay. And the crow, universal laws and truths are now being revealed. Use this energy to create your reality. There is this major energy of expansion, right? And there's like, there's lots of downloads. You're getting lots of hits. You're getting good advice from people. You're realizing that you're the smaller cog in the greater machine of the universe, right? And these universal laws, these universal truths are becoming more obvious to us. They want me to mention also that there was this interesting portal that happened recently with them. Basically, it's this, what do they call it? It's a Sirius portal. It's like Sirius opens up and sends a whole bunch of like really interesting higher knowledge from the universe down to those who are willing to receive it. So if you've been feeling like more connected to all that may be, it's pretty normal. And it's this crow energy leading you towards it, right? Ka-ka-ka-ka, the crows announce it, all of that jazz. This crow is a higher knowing being, and it's bringing you the truths of universal law. So that you have clarity about things that otherwise you felt really confused about, and that was arresting your development, yeah? Well, it's time to use these new revelations, these messages that the crows brought on their wings, and use them to become our master manifestors. You've collected enough data and information now, and it's time to move forward towards the fulfillment of your dreams. All right. You may still be divided right now, but it's almost so that like you can plan out your route. You see exactly, eyes on the prize, right? You see exactly where you want to go. You see exactly what you want. Now you just have to do a little bit of a plan, because it's soon becoming time. These universal truths that you've understood by standing off on your little lonely planet all by yourself, they help you plot the map back to the thing that you're meant for. It's beautiful. It's like a cosmic positioning system. Let's call it a CPS. You don't need a GPS with Morgan Freeman going, please turn right. You know, it's not that kind of dials anymore. This is the cosmic positioning system. And unfortunately, the GPS goes to the path of least resistance, right? The CPS doesn't do that. The CPS will take you on a bajillion fucking detours if it's for your betterment. And sometimes you're like, why are you punishing me? Why are you hurting me? I don't understand. This is not what friends do. Not cool. Not cool, guys. Not cool, team. But there's going to be a time where, after all is said and done, you go, okay, I understand why you had to do that. And I understand why I had to sit in the emotion of thinking that you were trying to hurt me and punish me too. I understand that everything had its greater place. Yeah. Enough said, right? Anyway, I will be back tomorrow for a couple of things. Tomorrow's a busy day, so I will be coming live, over on Instagram for a very special new moon tarot power hour. I'm doing only tarot cards tomorrow over on Instagram. I'll do a brief discussion about what I think is important for the astrology of the new moon, but honestly, I'm going to be back here also on YouTube tomorrow for a discussion of the astrology of the new moon because I think it's important we do both. So I will see you tomorrow in more ways than one. Yay! Okay, darlings, I'm sorry for anything you're going through if I've made you feel a certain way. Thank you so much for being a beautiful, beautiful human and lending your energy to the circuit. I love you so very much, to the ends of the earth and to infinity beyond. And yeah, I know my hair's a mess, but I still love you, even though you're pointing it out to me. I know my hair's a mess. I have to redo it. And I accept this, and I hope you do too. Have yourselves a wonderful day, night, evening, wherever it may be. Happy 9th? Yeah. 9th of July. Have a great one. We'll talk soon. Bye.